To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So I'm back at the tiny house build again today. Boy, it's cold and wet and icy this morning. Woo. It's at 32 degrees, 31 degrees, right around there. It's rained all night long. My tarp is worse for the wear. We got through the night, but it was pretty serious. The water is accumulating in pockets, and so it just kind of stacks there. I got the ladder kind of holding it up, trying to keep the water from accumulating around these boards that I got right there. But it's still accumulated, and so water was stretching, the ice water was stretching the tarp right there. So I take the broom and I'd push it up and try to knock it down. So I came up here at 2:30. That's when I load the stove up, 2:30 in the morning. I load the wood stove up. And so I came on up here, checked everything, and that's what I found. So I spent a good 15 minutes up here trying to knock the water and the ice off the tarps. All the while, there was a bird in here just flapping at me. So I had to deal with that. At first I didn't know what it was, and I'm tired, and it's 2:30 in the morning, and it's cold, and it's wet, and slick. We went to Home Depot, and I've been telling you that we've been going to Home Depot, so now we can continue on with our build. Now, I won't get much done today because of this ice and rain, so tomorrow we'll get back to working on the tiny house. Now, at the end of the week, I think on Friday, this is Tuesday, it's going to warm back up and the rain chances go down to basically 10% to 0. So that'll give me a chance to get back up on the roof, and then I don't have to worry about this tarp anymore. The supplies that I bought is some 2x4s, some plywood, and some paver blocks. And I'll show you the paver blocks in a little bit. The 2x4s will finish up my overhangs on my roof. So you can see I got one overhang here on this side. So that 2x4 is what I got to finish up. I got to put one here and on another one on the other side. I got to put 2 here and 2 on the other side. So I got 6 to go. Once I get those on, then I'll be able to put the roof on. Now the 2 boards that I got to put up on this side and the other side, I have to bevel cut. I'm not all that excited about that, but I'll take some scrap pieces and I'll test it before I make my bevel cut. I'll just keep playing with scrap pieces. That way I don't cut into a board and mess it up. Now, of course, I bought a few extra just in case I do mess up the bevel cut. But once I get the bevel on my saw correct, then I can cut the 3 remaining without any issues. Now, normally, I back the truck up over to the tiny house when I unload, and that way I can just unload everything right there. But today, it's slick and muddy, and I don't want to get stuck. As you can see, the truck is on gravel now. So that means I got to carry all this material back here. One of the ways now what I got here, this will help with the pavers that I'm going to use for the wood stove. I'll stack those pavers up on this. I can slide it right up underneath the trailer frame, just carry it right into the house. Now this little wagon is really nice. It has walls, but I've taken the walls off. This little wagon can carry 900 pounds. I've hauled firewood with it. I've done everything. I've drug logs out of the woods with it. If I ever get a lawnmower, I probably won't get a lawnmower trailer. I'll use this because it actually carries more weight than a lawnmower trailer. A lawnmower trailer only carries 100 pounds, but this one's 900 pounds. So I'll have to modify it so I can get the handle to hook up to the hitch. Sorry about my hair. It was too cold not to have a hat on or hoodie or whatever you want to call it. It takes a surprisingly good amount of time to unload the truck, I've noticed. Trying to get everything organized and set up right, and of course they got the rain and the mud and the ice to deal with. Okay, so I told you what we got the 2x4s for. We're gonna finish up the overhang so then we can put the roof on. And man, I'm telling you, things are really happening pretty fast now, but we just gotta get better weather. Now I got some plywood also. You saw me unload some plywood, and that is going to be for the attic. I got 3 sheets. And that's all it's going to take is 3 sheets. See, that's the nice thing about a tiny house. 3 sheets of plywood to do the attic. So you got 1 sheet here, 1 sheet back there, and then you'll have a 3rd sheet cut in half that'll run this gap. So it's 16 feet long, 6 feet wide. Now here's the pavers. And I originally had planned on using concrete. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these pavers to put underneath the wood stove. Carolyn wants to help with this. She says now that we're inside the house, she wants to participate more. Originally, we saw this concrete. You can build countertops with it, but it was $16 a bag. It was really expensive. But you can use it like 1.5 inches. I think the minimum amount you needed was a half inch. Whereas with regular concrete, you need 3 inches. It's got to be 3 inches thick. So we looked at the countertop special mortar. It was going to cost us $84. And we were only going to build it 1.5 inches thick. It wasn't going to be that thick. Then we thought, well, maybe a 1/2 inch. And then we were sitting on the cart, you know, in the Home Depot, they got those little flat carts. So we were sitting there with calculators and figuring out the square footage and square inches. And we thought, oh my goodness, $84. So I went over to the regular quick dry concrete and thought, well, maybe I'll just use concrete. And it wasn't much cheaper by the time we figured it all up because it had to have 3 inches. And it was going to be $60-something. So I walked over to Carolyn and said, oh, it's an extra 20 bucks. Let's just go ahead and get what we want. And that way we can have the thickness that we want also. And she says, I don't know why you keep looking at this. And it's like, you know, when I think of something, that's the mission. You know, when Carolyn tells me to do something, that's the mission. So the mission was concrete. I was going to mix concrete. Although I really didn't want to mix concrete in this weather. With it being cold, you know, the chances of it getting below freezing, I was just not looking forward to it. She says, why don't we buy these things? They're 84 cents a piece. Oh, wow, that's great. So we figured up how many we needed. We needed 24. So, I mean, under 24 bucks. Ooh, this is a huge savings. And it was the right thickness, and she was happy with them. So we got 25 just in case I broke one. So we're gonna lay these out here. The reason this is so important is I want to get the stove set up while I'm finishing up the OSB on the roof. I just ordered the exhaust, the chimney and everything. It should be here. This is Tuesday. I think it should be at the store Thursday because it's, you know, being shipped to the store. Tractor Supply Company. So what I want to do is I want to lay out all the OSB on the ceiling. I don't want to tack it down. I'm just going to lay it down up there. And I showed you in a previous video how I'm going to do that without actually nailing it. And then I'm going to square up all my rafters. Make sure everything's good and square. And then, before I cut anything, before I do anything, before I tack anything down, I want to run that chimney up to make sure that I got everything where I don't have to cut into the trusses. I've seen videos where it takes them forever because they have to cut into a truss and they got to brace the truss and they got to do this and that. I want to be able to center it right in between these two trusses. Then I can cut my hole in my OSB and I can actually set the piping up into it. I hope I can encourage you to create something today. Thanks for watching.